Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Hamley. Happy New Year. We hope you had a wonderful holiday season and wish you peace, prosperity, health, and happiness in 2019. We start this new year with inspirational stories of three men here in Hampton Roads who have highly successful national and international businesses. Find out how they got started, the challenges they faced, the success they've enjoyed, and what you should consider if you're considering a budding entrepreneur. Meet Hamilton-Perkins of Hamilton-Perkins Collection, Randy Williams of Talley and Twine Watch Company, and Gerard of Tradition Ever Since. Hang tight. Another View will be right back.
Discussing today's topics from an African-American perspective, this is Another View.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Hamley. Happy New Year. We are so happy to be with you back live and glad to be here in 2019. And we thought we'd start 2019 by talking with three African-American entrepreneurs who are major players in the national and international marketplace. Their stories are honest and inspirational. Please welcome to Another View, Hamilton-Perkins, owner of Hamilton-Perkins Collection. Hey, Hamilton, how are you?
Hey, Barbara. Good afternoon. I'm well. Happy New Year
Happy
as well.
New Year to you, too. Thanks so much for being with us. Randy Williams, owner of Talley and Twine Watch Company. How you doing, Randy?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Glad that you're here. And joining us by phone is Gerard Murray, owner of Tradition Ever Since. Hey, Gerard, how you doing?
How you doing, Barbara? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We are so glad to have the three of you. So I'm going to start by letting each one of you do your elevator speech, okay, to tell people what your company is about. Gerard, let's start with you since you're on the phone with us. Tell us a little bit about Tradition Ever Since.
Well, Tradition Ever Since is a collegiate lifestyle brand that specializes in designing and developing very fashionable pieces for all the colleges that we have, with a special emphasis on the HBCUs. We make a very, age-appropriate brand that covers the incoming freshmen all the way up to the proud 40-plus alumni.
Proud 40-plus alumni. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. And for the audience, those of you who may not be familiar, HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities, although you have all schools. Is that right? Or a variety of schools?
We do have other, as you want to say, PWIs, but right. Our focus has been on HBCUs because it's been an underserved market, and I think we've carved out a niche in a very competitive arena. Okay. And we are focusing on something because we know that culture, and we eat, sleep, and breathe it. So, who better to do it but ourselves? So we're very limited in the arena. So, we take pride in what we do.
All right. And PWI is predominantly white institution. So just to make sure people are clear on the acronyms. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Randy, what's Talley and Twine all about?
Yeah, Talley and Twine is a direct-to-consumer watch brand who makes watches for men and women along with accessories. And our focus is on young professionals. But we have watches that are dressy, classy, and also casual. Mm-hmm. And we've been in business since 2014.
Since 2014. Mm-hmm. And you, too, have been in business, Hamilton, since 2014, right?
Officially, yes. We established an LLC. I try to say, well, look, I went full-time 2016. That's when I really put, my whole life, my whole heart into it. So, yeah.
And what is Hamilton-Perkins Collection?
So we're one-of-a-kind bags, award-winning bags made from recycled materials. No two bags are alike. We've been featured in Forbes, Fast Company, Money Magazine, Washington Post. Some customers are
British Vogue.
That's right. That. That's right. We've been featured. We have some customers like West Elm, Zappos, Holt Renfrew. We've worked with, we just got an amazing purchase order from the Dow Chemical Company. They manufacture a ton of plastic, and it's cool because we make everything out of recycled materials. So we use plastic, we use pineapple leaf fiber, and we use billboard vinyl. It's a small team.
So literally, the billboards that we see out on the street,
correct,
when they're done, You take that fiber and use that as part of the bags.
Billboard vinyl, conference banners. So Zappos, they sent us banners in the past, and we made bags out of those banners. We've taken down, mainly like anything that has a graphic or something that like looks visually, looks good. We'll use that for like pops of color and lining. It's a small team of us of 3. We're based here in Virginia.
So now all 3 of you are based in Virginia. And although, Gerard, you actually live in Atlanta, isn't that right?
We're based in Virginia Beach, actually.
Okay, so the company is based in Virginia Beach. So it sounds like each one of you found a niche or found a problem, if you will, in quotes, and found a way to solve it through your company. Randy, let's talk about Talley and Twine for just a second, because you said you wanted to find a watch that was more affordable than the real high end, but not your basic watch.
Yeah, correct. Just graduating from college, I had this one watch that I got when we went on a trip. I bought it in the Bahamas for like $40. I think it was a Guess watch, and it fell apart. But it ignited my love for watches. So I started to collect these watches, but I saw 2 problems. Number one, the cheap watches, $50, $100, they wouldn't last long. And then the watches that I wanted, they were overpriced. I'm a young professional just trying to get started in my career. I couldn't afford a $1,000 watch. And so I saw a need there to create something that was aesthetically pleasing, something that was as beautiful as the higher end watches, but that would also last, one that you didn't have to worry about breaking on you as well. And I thought that market wasn't being served. So, yeah.
And the name of the company?
Talley and Twine is an intersection in Portsmouth. The intersection used to be a really, really bad neighborhood here called the Ida Barbara. And when I came to Virginia, it was just all I heard. Like, this used to be really, really bad. And it had crime and drugs, and people would tell me all these stories. But what I saw was this big community of African Americans who were now homeowners. There's nothing but houses there. All of the blight that was there before has been torn down, and now people have a chance to own. And I thought that would be a great thing to start the company with, basically signifying that you don't have to finish the way that you start. A place that started as a very, very dark now has a bright future. We can turn things around.
And something that's unique about your watch is that the number 7. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we only feature the number 7 on the watches. From a business perspective, I wanted to create something that would be memorable. So when you glance at the watch, you would know immediately that's a Talley and Twine. So I wanted that on there. But also, for me, it just represents completion, 7 days in a week. And I told myself that when I started the company that I would finish what I started. As entrepreneurs, a lot of time we get shiny object syndrome, and we just chase the newest idea and the newest trend. But sometimes you have to just finish things through to completion. I said to myself that this is something that I want to start and finish.
Gerard, how did you start Tradition Ever Since? How did that come about? What made you think that we need this niche for HBCUs in terms of apparel?
Well, taking it far back, I'm older than the other 2 gentlemen, but my background is the retail and the wholesale business. I previously had a company called School of Hard Knocks. We had success on a wholesale level, but deeper than that, my father started a retail store in Corona, Queens, and it was called Vaughn's, and we've always sold. We were the first African American distributor for Nike. We had Converse. We had all these brands, but one of the things we sold a lot of was collegiate licensed products. And I always I just had an admiration for collegiate products because I always looked at it as it was a built-in customer that you would never lose. Once somebody graduates from a college or attends a college, they were with that college for life. It wasn't, it was just something different. And when I got older and, my wife went to HBCU and all my friends, and I didn't go to HBCU. I went to Jacksonville State, but in this, I saw the pride with the HBCUs, but then there was a company that had they had sweatshirts out for black colleges, and it just seemed like it lasted almost like 365 days. It lasted for a year. We were one of the first retailers that carried it, and I just remember the reaction. It was young and old, and everybody was loving that. I wanted to offer something a little bit more. A step further, when I started taking my daughter to college visits, I went into bookstores, and I wasn't too impressed with what I saw in the bookstore because in some cases it was the same stuff that some people who graduated 10 years ago were still coming back buying the same thing. And I looked at it as these people now graduated, had a disposable income, and wanted their closets to match what their salaries were. And I felt like the offering had to be better. me as a consumer, I knew for me, everything from sneakers to shoes to suits to casual wear, it got better as you got older. And so their tradition came about. But in developing tradition, it's kind of like it speaks to the culture. I know one thing we love to do, we love to party, we like to dress and have a good time. So one of the things I wanted to do is I knew when homecoming came around, people wanted to really, if you want to say get fly, they wanted to have the best of the best on. And who wants to go out there with the same old T-shirt or sweatshirt that you saw 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever you were removed from that college? So came the sweaters, and when we started it, it was really a seasonal business. We built a line for homecoming, and we delivered it. We had an opportunity, and we were official vendors for Barnes and Nobles and Follett, who basically run the majority of the school bookstores across the country, aside from some of the independents. And we approached them, and like anything, a whole deeper story. When we showed them our product and we walked in, we showed them beautiful clothing, but yet they looked at us and was like, "Okay, we'll put you in the Black College bookstores." And it was like, that's where I started. Was they started us with 6 schools. They gave us a minimal order, 12 pieces, 24 pieces, but it blew out. And from there, the story started. And then every season from there. So actually last year was our first full year in rotation, selling from January to December. And by far one of our best years in selling. But that's kind of like the story of how we got into the college market.
Okay. Now, Hamilton, really, water bottles or plastic and
That's
billboards.
Right.
I mean,
Billboards.
what made you think?
And pineapple leaf fiber.
Pineapple leaf fiber now. So what made you think about using those items in terms of recycling to make your bags?
So my background was retail. Started out, I worked in the malls. I worked in every mall in this town. I worked in boutiques. I worked in big box stores. I sold sneakers, sportswear, bags, a little bit of everything, eyewear. And I think, I took a little bit of time away from the industry. So I had done the retail thing, and then I went, worked in finance for about 6.5 years. So the last thing I was doing was investment management, and then I got my MBA while I was, working. And so I was on a trip, and this whole time I'm making bags like as a project on the side, like it's a side business. So I'm making like custom briefcases and custom duffel bags and custom backpacks. And, I've got clients, I'm selling to a couple men's shops here and there, but nothing like, really commercial. So fast forward, at the end of sort of my time, I started this crowdfunding campaign. And then, it was like a $10,000 goal, hit the goal in about 6 days, delivered all the products in time for the holidays. And, it was really like I researched, I used Google, I just really called a lot of people. I asked for recommendations, a lot of no's, a lot of places wouldn't want to make, bags for us, or like, a lot of people didn't really want to help, but, you had to like kind of just fight through it and just, stay with it. So,
and pretty much you were doing this on your own.
I was, yes. We have a small team now, but, for the first couple of years, it was just, it's just myself, just emailing, just emailing and writing and, developing the product, designing the product, but now, it's, we're coming off of like our best year ever as well, best Black Friday, best year, and it's just like growth each year. So now we're in 100 stores, we were all online, we were Kickstarter only, or direct to consumer only. And then I took a trip to Haiti. And when I got back from Haiti, I was so inspired. I had never seen like the artisan sector of like a country really just like reveal so much, and just like the fashion industry there was just, incredible. Like all the makers, you got, folks making jewelry, and you got people making apparel. And I came back, I'm like, I got to be a part of this, but I got to do this. So I started knocking on doors. I started, selling our product, going into small stores, boutiques, and then, from there, that kind of got us the momentum that we have now. So, it's a, it started with me wanting a bag that I could travel with. And then, we started introducing like just unique styles that like, you can't see in the market, you can't find. And, that kind of attracts our customers that we have.
And you say no two bags are like, so I have a question for the three of you. So at what point, because I believe all of you were working in like traditional jobs. Everybody had a job. But at what point did you say, okay, I got to do this. I've got to just focus on this company. Gerard, were you working at something else before you started? Or were you in retail all along?
I was always one foot in, one foot out. Even when I had the retail, I was working at Delta Airlines. And, I mean, it just gets to the point where that entrepreneurial bug is in you. And you know that feeling when you step in somebody else's world and you punch that clock, so to speak. And you know the feast and the famine when you take the risk and the reward of when you accomplish something on your own. I think even a stranger, somebody who doesn't really know you, anything about your company, and like you say, you do the elevator pitch, or they come across your brand and they say something, and you just sit back and you listen. That's kind of motivating, but, I just think I've always been around it, and I was, kind of built for it. Everybody's not built for it. Like I said, when I say feast and famine, the famine is what I focus on more because you don't want to hit that bottom. I've had success, I've had bumps and bruises, but it's just, I jokingly say when I started walking in to jobs and then halfway through you realize you're walking in miserable. You're walking in not speaking to people. It's like things that people do every day and they don't pull themselves away from it and they drown themselves in it. And it just got to a point where I was just like, you know what? This is what I want. This is what I'm motivated by. And I watch the people around me who contribute to the dream. I watch them get motivated, and, it just keeps me going.
When did you decide, Hamilton, to give it up?
Okay, so mine was a build-up. Mine built up from being a kid selling. I mean, I'd take a Slam magazine, if you can remember Slam magazine, The Source. I would take the individual pages in these magazines and sell them to my classmates as locker decoration.
Really?
So that was like my very first business. It got shut down. And then I started selling sneakers and reselling sneakers. I mean, this is years and years ago.
So you've always had the entrepreneurial bug.
I've always been entrepreneurial, but I've always felt like I was very one-dimensional and I only kind of knew one thing. So that's why I went into finance, because I knew I could get a bird's eye view and kind of think through like economics and just like understand a little bit more than just what I had seen at that point. But then, so I said I started 2014. I had everything set up. It was, on the side, I cleared it, it was already like a thing, like it was approved, I could do it. And then towards the end, I got through to the Kickstarter, and I mean, the build up, I'm looking at the orders coming in. I'm looking at the supplies we have. I'm looking at the work that's going to take, because I'm handwriting all my thank you notes. I mean, it's a personal touch. I'm throwing a private event, for sort of our super backers or like the top customers, super customers. And I'm just kind of looking at the time. I'm looking at, the timetable. I'm looking at the math. And I'm like, there's no other way to really do this than to do it full time. Like, this is a full time job to actually like handle all of this. So there's no better time than now. It's only going to get harder if I continue to stay here. I probably would stay forever. So I use that time. And, then like, just like God's grace, like everything else fell into place. Like, we picked up a huge grant. We were, I won the Virginia Velocity Tour up in Richmond. I would have never been able to do that if I was still in a job. And the other interesting thing, or at least, for me, it's just like I needed that grant to be able to, just even like just handle the admin and the fulfillment and the startup costs just to get the Kickstarter out the door. So it all, it compounded on itself to like, it had to happen. And, it happened. So it's been about 2.5 years.
2.5 years now.
Yeah.
What about you, Randy?
I've known from the beginning that being an entrepreneur was something that I wanted to do. But when I graduated college, majored in marketing, got my marketing degree, I thought I was going to get this nice entry-level job making $50,000, and I would be able to chill for about 5-10 years. And somewhere along that line, I'd find a business. That didn't happen. And the first job that I had was selling coupon books door to door. I'm a college graduate, right?
Wow.
So I knew immediately I've been working towards entrepreneurship ever since that day. It hasn't always been successful. So it was a long road before I found something that would be able to support, myself financially. But the day of reckoning, I guess you can say, came when my boss at the time, the president of the company, and the HR director came into my office while I was eating my lunch and told me that day was my last day. And I had been moonlighting, going back and forth, like working, doing both delivering packages in the morning and then coming to work. And actually, to be honest, doing a lot of work on the clock for Talley and Twine. And they said, hey, today is your last day, and the president, I remember he told me that, he said, I'd seen your resume you won't have a problem finding another job. And at this time, my wife was 6 months pregnant.
Wow.
But I felt this release and this weight lifted off of my shoulders when I went home, and I've been full time ever since. So I was kind of forced out.
440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240 are the numbers to call to join our conversation. What questions do you have for these entrepreneurs and how they've been able to get their businesses up and running and successfully? 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. So we have a question from Facebook. I'll throw that out first. Do the gentlemen have a team that they work with, or is it pretty much just you? So you have a team, Hamilton, of three, right?
Yes, we do have a team of 3, and it's so funny. It was just like myself for the first majority of the time, basically just myself, just like doing everything, selling the customers, writing the order, fulfilling the order, handling production, supervising production, designing the product.
How long did it take you to find somebody to make that? Because you use a factory to actually make the bags, right?
That's right. I'm still finding somebody to make the products. We're always finding somebody to make the products. Right now, we're producing in Union City. We produce on sort of like the same factory line or sample line where Marc Jacobs has done production, Kate Spade, and some like really big European companies. Mm-hmm. On the West Coast in California, in Los Angeles, we have a factory that we're working with, and both are just amazing. Like the product, the quality that comes out. But they've done a lot of private label, like Nordstrom, or just different private label clients like that. So it takes, I guess for us, like I don't really come from the industry. I came from retail, but I wasn't in like manufacturing. I knew.
So was that a learning curve for you? In terms of trying to figure out, okay, can this factory actually deliver what I envision, what I want it to look like, and what I want it to feel like, and so forth?
100%. And then it just gets to a point where you have to be sort of at peace with like the product. You have to know that you're going to want it to be at a 100%, and sometimes it's not always going to be there, and you have to kind of be okay with that. Like you have to understand that you're going to be your hardest critic. Like I'm very hard. Like I really want it to come out exactly how it should, and it's just a lot of sampling. It's a lot of prototyping, but I think that's definitely for us. It hasn't been like a one size shoe fits all. It's been you gotta try on a bunch of different shoes
to figure it out. And Gerard, the whole manufacturing piece also has been challenging.
Yeah, it's anytime you're doing anything overseas, it's challenging. It's the language barriers. It's just having somebody over there, QC person, quality control person. But our team is small. Our team consists of maybe hands-on, where I say people who protect the integrity of the brand, 5 people. Other than that, everybody else is contract help. And when you're dealing with overseas manufacturers, you just hope you get in. Right now, we feel like we're in a relationship where that person takes a little bit of pride in what you're doing because you're growing and you're helping building their business. But it's just a challenge, and I could attest to what the gentleman is saying. It's like you learn every day, and for people who I think one thing gets me, people come to me and they say, "Hey, I want to start a T-shirt line," and I don't mind that, but please don't take for granted what I've been doing for years, and don't take for granted that building a bag or a watch is something you just wake up and you do tomorrow, and that's the thing. And it's just having that committed team around you, because sometimes you start with people and you don't end with people. So we've had a committed team of people that surround us right now, and even joining forces down in Virginia. Like I said, right now it's 3 people there that are committed to the building of the brand.
Got you. Okay. And Randy, where are your watches actually made?
We make our watches overseas, using parts from the steel is from China, the movement is from Japan, and we got some German parts as well. But we do assembly here, so we have a few different manufacturers that we work with. So we do some light assembly when we get to the States. And as far as the team, we have 3 people, and like Gerard, we use a lot of contract labor. And utilizing that technology gives us strategic advantage to be able to kind of maneuver in the global marketplace knowing that, okay, I don't have this overhead of having these employees, and I can use stuff on an as-needed basis. So that's been very helpful.
So that's been helpful in terms of the bottom line. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the art of entrepreneurship with Hamilton-Perkins of Hamilton-Perkins Collection, Randy Williams of Talley and Twine Watch Company, and Gerard Murray of Tradition Ever Since. I'm Barbara Ham-Lee, and you're listening to Another View. Let's go to Greg in Virginia Beach. Hi, Greg. You're on the air.
Hello. First, I'd like to say congratulations to your guests. You guys are very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy, I was sitting here on a whole going. I'm a watch guy myself. I've been from Shinola to Ebel watches, and I've been searching for a quality African-made manufacturer. I'm glad you came on. I'm sitting here looking at your website. I got to tell you, it's very well done. It's very professional.
Thank you.
I love your watches. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
The question I have for you is, I saw a woman's black Worley, but I didn't see a man's black Worley. That watch is bad.
You're going to have to call our customer service number,
Yes,
sir.
exactly.
No, just kidding. It actually sold out during the holidays, man. That's our most popular watch, man.
I'll pick another one. I love the simplicity of your watch. At the same time, it pops.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I just want to say I'm very proud of you guys, and thank you for putting this show on. And you guys have a great. Oh, one question: do you guys have mentors?
A very good question. Thank you, Greg. I'm going to let each one of them answer off the air. So thank you for your call. Starting with you, Randy. Did you have a mentor?
Not directly in the industry as a per se, but I do have mentors in the sense that I consume a lot of information from experts, from books to paid mentorships to paid programs that even teach me how to manage the finances and profits. So I definitely consider that mentorship. It's not in the traditional sense of I got somebody, hey, showing me the ropes. And that's what is missing, unfortunately, in the African-American community. There's not a lot of people that you can look at that look like you that have done what you've done before. And so there's not a direct comparison like there is for a lot of other communities. So we have to kind of piece together those mentorships and just take and accumulate that knowledge, like Hamilton said, by going to Google, going to YouTube University, and making the most of that information that's available. And thank God it's readily available for us there.
Gerard, do you have a mentor, or did you have a mentor?
I would say my father. He definitely opened the door for just, like I said, being a retailer. And that day he handed me the keys to the store in a sense of, you go find where sneakers are made if you want sneakers. If you want, I just watched him grind every day. But, going back to what Randy said, we're still talking in this day and age, we're the first. We're the first. We're the only African-American in this college bookstore. So navigating that college bookstore scene, I've been to trade shows where it's me and my team, and I look around the whole show, and we're the only people of color there. And we're still kicking indoors. And so does a mentor have to be the same color? But no, but I haven't found anybody who said, hey, grab my hand and follow me. So I've been treading these waters, and just learning, just trial and error sometimes. I've met some good people, but I think I've had more I would say alliances in the business, or other people who I know started businesses, or other designers, or salespeople that we just feed off each other. We call on each other, and like I said, you never burn a bridge because you never know you're going to tap somebody on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I need your assistance on this," or reference me to that, and that's how it's been.
So, Gerard, let me ask you this then: since you didn't see a lot of people, like you said, you go to trade shows and so forth, you're the only person of color. Then, do you feel compelled to mentor others as they're coming through?
Yeah, I do. I do. And then, I guess, the other guys could chime in. Sometimes you meet people and they just know it all. And I hate to say some of the millennials, they got all the answers. Social media is what it is, and you can't tell them anything. And I'm like, okay, cool. And you just have to back off and you try to help. And then we come from I don't know what it is. We come from such a competitive. I remember being in the Young Men's Urban Market, and we all started. And it was in New York. It was us, it was FUBU, it was PNB, it was a handful that we could name, and we always look at each other and, nod their head like, yeah, what's up? And it was just like, instead of joining forces, hey, man, where you getting this made? Where you getting that made? It was just so competitive. And you still get that to this day. When people come around who want to be mentored, like I said, to me, it's no ancient Chinese secret. You're going to find out if I don't tell you. So I'd rather tell you, you go do your thing, and I'll do mine, and that's it. It's not that serious. You know,
What about
there's room
you,
for
Hamilton?
everybody to grow in this.
Yeah, I would
You
say
have a mentor?
I would say facts about all those things there because totally agree. I mean, we formally or informally have an advisory board for the company. You know, it's kind of diverse. So we got people from finance, we got people from retail, you know, people that worked at like Tom Shoes or, you know, they've sold companies in the retail space or marketing spaces in the past. And, you know, it's still like we have to kind of react to the market and the customers and like what's happening in 2019 for like us to be successful. So you know, we rely on like the customers and like, you know, the people that are sponsoring us to kind of, you know, give us that, you know, advice or give us feedback. But we still, you know, we have to make the final we have to make the play. We have to take the shot. You know, you can get the coach or you can get, you know, the things. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's going to be our decision on what we end up, you know, going forward with, if we're going to release a new product or not, or if we're going to go into a certain market.
So, what do you think, or how do you think your businesses would do if there were no internet and no social media? I mean, are those two major players in your business plan, if you will, in terms of being successful? And could you be as successful if those things weren't there, or would you have approached it differently? I guess is my question.
Well, I think
This
for
is
us,
Hamilton.
that's an interesting question. I've never really been asked that before, but I would say.
Probably because in your lifetime you've never not had internet.
well, you got to think I'm 1 foot in and I'm 1 foot out because when I worked in retail, this is like 2005 ish to like 2010 ish. So there's no, you know, there's no Instagram, there's no like, I mean, there's YouTube, but it's really early. There's Twitter, it's fairly early. So like
Gotcha.
the communication, the comms of it all is like dramatically different if something is like really hot or something that people really want. How that word of mouth bubbles up is like, I mean, I can barely even remember like how it actually happened back then, but like now it's pretty simple. You look at your timeline and you see stuff trending, or you can see it. It's, you know, you're
it's right there for you.
You're getting pinged. But yeah, I mean, we would, you know, like if we had to, we'd use the, you know, our thing is like, we're trying to find the things that are working for us. Like I just looked at a bunch of analytics, a bunch of just stats from 2018, just studying and just looking at our company, you know, the three drivers, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Those are the three
That's
drivers.
That's it.
So you're not even considering like traditional media or like radio, for example, or TV. I know all of you have gotten a lot of press in terms of written press, newspaper articles and magazine articles and so forth. But as you look at your marketing, do you just look at social media, or do you also consider some of the more traditional media?
We're omni, so we want to be where you are. So,
Okay.
you know, we do think traditional, we do think digital, but for us, we're thinking like, where are kind of like the underpriced assets in the marketing space? So like if it's going to cost us, you know, a $10 CPM or cost to reach 1,000 people on a Facebook ad versus, you know, it's going to cost us maybe $30 to reach someone maybe on, you know, maybe a Snapchat ad. I'm just kind of making that
it up, sure.
But you're going to realistically look at your conversion rates. You're going to look at your unique sessions and your session time and your actual sell through and your reorder rates and where those are, you know, more, you know, where the numbers are really driving you towards. So we're, you know, I mean, even, you know, I actually do believe that radio and traditional is actually kind of like, it's, you know, we went through this thing where everyone's really hot on digital media and all the ads are like the price, you know, to get in front of people is just going up. But then, you know, people aren't spending as much on traditional, but I still think there's a lot that can be spent there as well. And in just like brick and
particularly
mortar.
for your audience, because you're looking for, you were saying, what was the age range? Who is your audience?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like 38 to 57. You
Somewhere
know,
in there.
they're kind of women. It skews more women than men. They're interested in fashion, travel. You know, they're probably going to go to Art Basel. They're probably going to go to Coachella. They're interested in a variety of influencers that they kind of look up to and listen to. But I think, we want to reach them where they are. That there's no like one person in this world that I know of that just like only relies on like, only Instagram by itself.
Right.
I think it's Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and LinkedIn and the actual store and the radio and their best friend, and all of these touch points are important because we know it's going to take time for people to see something before they actually convert.
Before they actually come over and buy it. Randy, on your website, it actually pops up, so-and-so just bought this watch. So-and-so just bought that watch. I mean, there's a lot. You do direct through your website, right?
Correct.
So you're not in any stores at this point?
No stores.
Okay. And you made that decision, why?
Well, Hamilton alluded to it earlier that there are these middlemen when we were talking before the show. And when you sell direct to consumer, there is no middleman. Also, taking a look at the trends of the environment, we got some of the most historic stores closing down and having financial difficulties. Macy's closing stores, Sears is gone, Toys R Us is gone. And who's the one that's taking the share is an internet-based company, Amazon.com. And so looking at the trend, I want to be a person who controls my brand. Having done some retail when I first started out, I noticed that they weren't doing a good job of selling the company like I would. I wanted to be in control of my consumer. I wanted to know what they were thinking, and direct to consumer gives you an opportunity to do that. And so that's why it's my strategy, because I want to be able to touch the people, respond quickly, and then continue to build my brand. I always felt that I could go into retail anytime I wanted to, but to have them speak for me just didn't sit well.
One of the things I noticed about all three of you is that customer service is paramount. I mean, you guys are like really from responding to people who hit you up on social media directly to say, hey, thanks for responding or thanks for the review, all the way to free shipping and returns if there's a problem. Gerard, you're all about making sure that if someone wants an item for their school, that you can get it for them. So customer service is very, very important.
Yeah, so customer service is paramount when it comes to, especially direct to customer. We though we sell to a very few select retailers, our direction is more going direct to the consumer. I just feel like it's a better experience. I think it's better margins, of course, but at the end of the day, the gratification and the flip side of you know when somebody's not happy or there's something about what you're doing they don't like, or something more you need to be doing. One thing I found out, I didn't realize we had so many women customers. That's the true driver. So when you say your demographics, we have 18 to 40 plus, but if you really look at the range, it's that 25 to 35-year-old woman that we do pre-sales now. I mean, women are buying stuff in advance 3 months before it comes out because they don't want to miss out, or they want to be, quote unquote, the only one with it. So we do limited editions. So that's really special, I'm finding out. And another thing that was just said is, nobody can sell this the way I can. I've been in a situation where my brand has hung in a store, and because somebody else does better marketing or they have a better position, you get lost.
Right.
And this way, I'm always in the forefront. You visit the website. I think our website represents the collegiate lifestyle brands unlike any other. And when you come to the HBCU, I stand on that soapbox and I say, show me another company that does HBCU product the way tradition does. Yeah. And I'll sit there and I'll just get quiet and wait. I mean, you have to have a little bit. I think each one of us has a little chip on our shoulder, because once you do this, you have to have pride, and it's not conceit. It's just that passion and that pride of what you're doing. But dealing with the customers on a day-to-day, I answer the phone. There's like three of us that answer the phone calls, but even the emails. But going back to what you said, social media has changed the game. I'm swimming. I'm not even swimming. I'm in the waters with a battleship and a luxury cruise liner, and we're a speedboat. And when I say a battleship, is those big companies who will, and I've experienced it. You're in the bookstore, you're selling well. But you know what? They contribute big to the athletic department, and they come in and they say, hey, we need more real estate, and they shoot you down. So where your spot was, you're now out the store. We've experienced that. And then the cruise liners are the ones who have just been doing this for so many years. They don't even make turns. And because of social media, you have to learn how to move quick. The attention span is shorter. So we get to make changes and follow trends and do things that they have a far lead time, and they can't even cope with it. So I think we're in a great position. And, just to end it, what I'm saying is I've come from a position in young men's urban market where I mean, people were making millions. I mean, we're putting numbers up on the board like it's monopoly money. And you know what? That's changed. And you know what? To have this started in the house. And for it that turned from a house business to seasonal business to year-round to an operation behind it, it's just, you want to grow, but let's take our time. Let's learn this business and learn every avenue from it, and probably open up some new doors to some others. We might go down that road.
All right, 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240 are the numbers to call. What questions do you have for our entrepreneurs? Let's talk to Ray in Virginia Beach. Hi, Ray, you're on the air.
Hey, how are you?
Doing good.
Good. I'm impressed by these three guys. I used to sell product to small businesses, services, and product, and I was always impressed by the entrepreneurship of people and the creativity and the innovation they showed in selling their products, and how these guys have adjusted to the current market is truly great. And a word out there to people who want to sit there in minimum wage jobs, look around, find something for yourself that fits you and where you can improve things. And I think that that'll make it a lot better for people, and it just proves how good capitalism can be.
Thanks so much for the call, Ray. We really appreciate it. Absolutely. 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. Jeff joins us from Hampton. Hi, Jeff. You're on the air.
Good day. Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you.
I want to speak to the gentleman. I can't remember his name. It's been going so fast. The watchmaker?
Yes, Randy Williams.
Mr. Williams, how you doing?
All right, how you doing? Good.
Good. I'm gonna put something on you, and this is it. A design for left-handed and right-handed watches. Okay. I am a representative for a major airline in the Middle East. I go back and forth to Dubai twice a month. A lot of my storages look for a nice watch that is dependable, waterproof, and radio controlled. If you know what I mean by radio control, it's similar to GPS. I guarantee you, if you catch one of these flights, take about 40 of your female watches, or 20 and 20, hand them to the stewardesses and the stewardess. I guarantee you'll get something, a feedback.
Thank you.
That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a nice watch that is dependable, not too expensive, that will do the job. It's radio controlled, right-handed and left-handed knobbing.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much, Jeff, for the call. We appreciate that. So there you go. Another market. So I have a question for you all. Think back over your entire time of being in business to this point. What was the one thing that happened that caught you totally off guard? Can you think of anything, Hamilton?
The one thing that caught me totally off guard, I got to think about that because everything is always off guard for me. I mean, I feel like there's never anything that I can expect. I wake up, I think I'm going to go and do some marketing and sales, and it's not going to be that way because I'm going to be doing some production supervision. Or maybe I think I'm going to be doing production, and then I'm not. I'm doing something around, HR. So either way, it's always that. Like that's what I took the job for. I stepped into this company because I didn't want to know what the next thing was, and I wanted to be able to learn. I didn't want to, just like hit the button each day. I got kind of, I got my experience working for other people and kind of learning, how to manage for them. But, I think that's kind of part of like the job description is like, figure out. Being flexible. You never know. You never know.
Gerard, anything catch you off guard?
Ooh, that race still plays such a major part in just industry, and I don't say it as naive, but I remember sitting in front of a major buyer, controlling the outlook for many bookstores, sat there and told me people on these campuses can't afford the product that you're selling. Wow. And I took that as such a slap in the face. And that was kind of like the most motivating thing for me to just deal direct with the consumer, to press on, to prove them wrong. The person is no longer there. But I just couldn't believe that in a room full of other buyers that was said so openly and nobody flinched. And I was sitting there cringing, but you take that and you could wallow in it, or you could take it. Like I said, I took it as motivation and said, okay, I'll prove you wrong. I've heard it from when we had a retail store that when I walked shows and I told them I was a buyer of the store, they looked at me and they thought I was joking. But at that time, my father sent me to shows. I was like 18 years old, walking around in a giant super show, they called it, and we were the only, like I said, when people scratch their head, they say, you were the first Nike distributor. I'm like, yeah, this is 1996. There were no black distributors in the sense that they had a Nike account. Nowadays, you see not everybody, you see a lot of boutiques and skate shops and stuff like that. But back then, it was, it was
unique,
very rare, So I always take those little jabs and just get motivated by it and just press on.
Okay, Randy?
Something that caught me off guard, man, was right after I went full-time in 2016, we launched a video that kind of went viral, just telling the story of the brand. And it was driving all this traffic to the website, right? It's a Facebook video. And a few months after that, we got blocked from posting videos on Facebook because we went live and we had some music playing in the background, it was copywritten. And they blocked us from posting videos. Now, this caused me to rework my whole strategy. I was going to keep releasing videos and content. I thought I had figured it out. So I had to rework my whole strategy and figure out ways to continue to drive traffic. They banned me for a year. Wow. It was a full year and nobody could help me. I was on the phone with reps and telling them like, man, what can I do to restore my account? But we were blocked for a whole year. So that caught me completely off guard. And it's one of those things where we talk about like stuff like this kind of happens all the time, but you got to be able to adapt and to the environment and just try to figure something out to make it work.
Now, all of you have families. All of you, the two gentlemen sitting in front of me, Randy and Hamilton, both have young babies. How are you all managing the whole work-life balance? Is this easier for you in terms of being able to spend time with family, or is it harder because you really got to devote all your time to the business? I'll start with you, Randy.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely easier because I have more freedom of my time. Now, I also have to be more disciplined. I have to get up earlier, but I can structure my day how I want to structure it. Now that I have a team that's helping me and I'm not trying to do everything like I once was, like Hamilton said earlier. But now that I have, like I went to the museum, I took my daughter to the museum so they can read books and kind of look around the museum and do an activity yesterday. And it was great, man. It's one of the highlights of my year so far. It's just that taking in that moment and being able to do that with her. So for me, it's been great.
Gerard? You have older kids.
It didn't start out that way, but it
is. Well, for me, my family's always been around it, but the thing now is to watch. My kids are older. My son is in he's in college. He's at Howard University. My daughter graduated from Howard, but for him a year ago, here it is. You're doing what you do every day, and you guys have experienced it. Your kids are watching you do this, and you're not pushing the business on them. They're just watching you. As I watched my father, and then he came back a year ago and said, hey, can I take over the social media? And I was doing the social media, thought I was doing my thing, and we were probably like 8,000 followers. And in 1 year, he took it over, and we're at 30 plus. We never had Twitter. Twitter is a driving force, and just, once again, going in the back end and seeing the analytics and seeing exactly how much business is coming from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and realizing that, wow, this guy made a difference. But on top of it, my daughter, she's a teacher. She's not into it, but you know what? At any given day, if a pop-up shop, she'll roll up her sleeves, get on a plane, and come to wherever we need her. So it's just once again, it's the village, it's your team, but it's something your kids are always going to motivate you. My wife is she's the backbone. That's my partner, and the silent partner, I say, in the sense that she handles the legal and the licensing aspects of the business, and she's on top of it, and she doesn't take the forefront. She doesn't beat on her chest or stand there and want attention, and she plays her position, and she understands it, but she knows this business and protects it, at all costs.
Absolutely. What about you, Hamilton?
Yeah, I have a super strong wife and supportive wife of what I do, and she really she works, tirelessly, of course, with our little man, and same. It's a team effort. He hit his sales goals last year. He made some sales. I can, attribute some sales to him for sure, because, people, on the buying side, they say, well, who's that? Is that like a vice president back there? Who's that back there? I'm like, yeah, that's Hamilton II. Yeah. So, but no, I love, I love having him there, just, showing him little things like videos. I mean, he'll watch videos and just kind of scroll through and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out like what can we do? Like, can he have a lemonade stand type Instagram business?
So you're going to go ahead and get him started early.
Something. Yeah. Oh yeah. Early, very early.
And Barbara, I did want to add that that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, is to have time freedom and to have the ability to spend time with my family. I didn't want to be one of those executives that work 60, 70 hours a week for somebody else and can never see their family. They miss their baby taking the first step. They miss games. They miss all the family function. That's one of my biggest motivations for being an entrepreneur. I'm
glad you touched on that. I looked at it. I'm like, I've spent more time with my son, in this like little bit of time probably like than with like some of my own parents, like over like years, so like that's that's definitely like
benefits.
That's a benefit to the job for sure.
Okay, we got less than 2 minutes left, so I want each one of you to give just a word of encouragement to somebody who's thinking about going out on business. Gerard, let's start with you and keep it quick.
Step out on faith, believe in what you're doing, and surround yourself with a supportive team. And, constantly learn the homework. Do the homework and stop looking for answers to the test. Some people only want answers. They don't want to do the homework.
That's Gerard Mary with Tradition Ever Since. Gerard, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Okay, Randy?
Hear me clearly. This is the best time in history to start a business. You have unlimited resources available to you for free. You can learn to do anything with the power of the internet, and you can reach customers like you never could before. This is the best time to start a business, so don't wait. Do it now.
And that's Randy Williams with Talley and Twine Watch Company. Thank you, Randy, so much for joining us. Hamilton, you get the last words.
Don't let others' opinions of you and your business shape your business. Don't let your friend, your relative, whoever, don't let them get in your head and tell you why you can't do it. Listen to yourself and do it for yourself. Take the work seriously.
How much background, since we got just, Lisa, how much more time do we have? Because I want to ask one more question. 1 minute. Okay. How much research did you guys do ahead of time to know that, yes, this could work? Just in general.
How much research?
Yeah. Did you do a lot of research?
I did a lot of research. I talked to 1,000 people before we ever made a product.
Okay. What about you, Randy?
I would probably say about 6 months to a year in terms of like research, product development, getting samples and all of that, and kind of learning on the job.
Okay. And Gerard, how many did you do? How much did you do?
I was in it, so I kind of had a feel of what people wanted. But at the end of the day, it's every day. We're learning more about that industry, and I say the collegiate industry, what's needed.
Fantastic. Thank you again. And that's Hamilton-Perkins with Hamilton-Perkins Collection.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. And we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Claude McKnight of the group Take 6, and you're listening to Another View.
There's a new sun rising. I can see a new horizon. You keep me realizing you're the biggest part of me.
And as always, we appreciate you spending an hour with us every Friday at noon. And if you'd like to hear this show again or share it with a friend, please visit our website, anotherviewradio.org, and you can download the podcast. You can find us on iTunes or any place that you go for your podcast listening pleasure. We're on Facebook, so like us, and I'm on Twitter at Barbara Ham Lee. Next week, our Another View Roundtable will be back with insight and commentary on current events. Dawn Hester, Allison Moore, Alvian Lyons, and Carol Pretlow will be here to bring in the new year, and it will be a lively discussion. Our theme music was composed and performed by Jay Sennett. Lisa Godley is our show producer. Todd Washburn is our audio engineer, and Kamaria Mason answered our phones. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. Thank you so very much for listening to Another View.